so you know. Okay, welcome everybody. We are now recording and we're off and running. So welcome to class, guys. Appreciate you joining. We have the Nearpod link. I'm throwing that there in the chat. I want to jump on so you can follow along as we get going. I am going to share my screen here as well. This will just take a second to come up. And we'll get going pretty quickly. So usually I do this in the first class, but because last Monday fell on the holiday, I didn't get a chance. So I'm just going to introduce myself real quick. My name is Mr. Hancock. I teach geography, personal finance, driver's education, and also the law enforcement pathway. So if you're interested in law enforcement, I got 2 classes that you'll do for your CTE concentrate there. So those are the classes I teach. So welcome. I'm sure you'll learn more about me as we do have this class and I kind of go over stuff. Today what we're going to do, we're going to talk about natural disasters. Just so you know, this lesson will be recorded for learning purposes. And here are my expectations in class. 1, follow along with the Nearpod lesson. 2, use the chat tools respectfully and appropriately. And the last one is respond to questions the first time. So if we're doing something on Nearpod, you know, if you can kind of get right on it, that helps us moving along in the class. So we're not having to wait for everybody and get rolling that way. And so we get out on time and stuff. I did want to go over the class real quick because we weren't able to do that last time. So if you go into your class right here, you'll see, excuse me, because of MLK Day, we did have a recorded lesson that I sent out. I sent this out via email, and it's always posted on the announcements here. This would be what our lesson would have been on Monday. If you go to class plan, you kind of see how it works. So the course started on the 11th. I did have the pre-test due on the 14th. Hopefully you got that done. As I was talking to people before class started, you get participation points for just taking the pre-test. Whatever score you get, it doesn't go against your grade, okay? But I want you to take that and you get participation points. So if you haven't taken it yet, please go ahead and do that. So I kind of know I'd like to do a pre-test, post-test to see if you keep data to see if you have growth and see where I need to focus my stuff moving forward. Okay, we didn't have class on MLK Day, so I sent out a recorded lesson. You should have done lesson 1 quiz, okay? If you haven't done that yet, once again, just do it, and then it'll update your grade. Today's the 24th. We have a live class. We're going to be going over natural disasters. We have a lesson 2 assignment that will be due this Friday. So basically what I do on Monday, you'll have an assignment that will be due Friday. That's how the class is structured. This class is a block, so we'll have live classes that we'll be going into for a while. And I didn't put where the end of the block is, but the end of the block is right here. And block is the 17th, okay? So if you can kind of see here, I have built in basically a week and a half where that you can get caught up if you need to. We can work through things, all that kind of stuff, okay? So that is where we are. Once you go into the content portion, we'll have lesson 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then we'll have the final test at the very end. I will be posting this recording to here as well, and I always have the Nearpod link. This one's an asynchronous one, so you can go at any point in time if you don't happen to be in class that day or whatever, and then make sure you do the lesson 2 assignment. I will be going over the lesson 2 assignment today, so I'll just pull that up so we can get to it after the lesson. Okay, any questions you have so far about how the class works? Nah, it won't be bad, I promise you. If you've done all the assignments and stuff like that, you should be able to ace the final test. It's similar to the pre-test. Okay. Okay. So our objective today is given a list of natural disasters, okay, in the OLS, students will choose one natural disaster and research current events to determine when the last natural disaster occurred and how it affected the environment in that area, okay, with 80% accuracy across one trial. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go over different natural disasters today, which I think this is kind of fun. And okay, somebody was saying Tonga. Yeah, we're going to be talking about what happened in Tonga, if you haven't heard already. And we're going to go over different natural disasters, what's called a natural disaster, and then you got to research one. Okay, that's what I want you to do at the very end. It's all right, you're late, no worries. We'll if you missed anything, you can always look at the recording later. Okay, what are natural disasters? Okay, so this is what I want you to put. I want to see what you guys know right now. What are natural disasters? So in the Nearpod link, for those of you that maybe weren't able to get it at first, I'm going to put the link in there so you can jump in at any time. What are natural disasters? Okay, a harmful event that is not man-made. Okay, all right, I like it. Something that happens in the world that has great effect on humanity. Okay, so we weren't able to do live class last week, but we talked about something called, in that thing we talked about, human environment interaction. Okay, how humans interact with their environment and how the environment interacts with humans. Okay, and so that is something there. Okay, so disasters in nature, very good. Something that happens without making it happen. Okay, natural disasters are events that are naturally occurred but can cause some major damage. I definitely agree with that. Life-threatening that is natural, not humans. Okay, a nature-made destructive force. Okay, I like all these definitions. These are really good, guys. Something that happens on Earth that isn't caused by people. Okay, weather or geological occurrence that happens as a result of the sun, the moon, or plate movements. Yep, natural disasters are huge events caused by the Earth. Very good. An event that is caused by nature that is caused injury or fatalities. Okay. So sometimes they don't always cause injury and fatalities. Like there was natural, and that's something is like a natural event is only big in our eyes if it hurts humans, right? If it affects us. Okay, earthquakes, hurricanes, tsunamis, tornadoes, volcanoes. Okay, caused by Mother Earth. Disasters that are not man-made. Okay. Destructive. Okay. Cosmetic events. Okay, caused by nature, having no correlation to humanity. Okay. Scary. Yep, I definitely agree. Okay, I think you guys got some really good points here. So that's great. So let's kind of move on. So one thing that we got to be aware of is that the world is always changing. Okay, natural disasters are changes which are so great that cause damage to the shape of the land or of the lives of the people and others that live in it. So that could be animals, that could be whatever. Great change happens deep inside the earth and on its surface. The changes on the outer parts of the earth happen because of different kinds of weather. Okay. So here's something that we're going to talk about a little bit that I haven't heard too much about this year, which is interesting because we did get a lot of snowfall, is an avalanche, right? So an avalanche would be a natural disaster and something that is caused quite a bit. Okay, what are natural disasters? I think some of you guys already named some of them. So volcanic eruptions, okay? Earthquakes, cyclones or hurricanes, avalanche, flood, drought, forest fires or bushfires. That's something that's really big that's been happening a lot in the United States are forest fires or bushfires that really affect us, okay? All right, we're going to watch this little video here, okay, that will tell us a little bit more about earthquakes, or not earthquakes, but natural disasters. Okay, let me know if you can hear this.
Natural disasters are part of the way
Okay, can you guys hear that pretty well? Yep, okay, awesome.
the planet works. In the ideal world, we would all live in places that aren't affected by natural hazards. We wouldn't live near coastlines. We wouldn't live along the San Andreas Fault in California. We wouldn't live underneath the volcanoes in the Pacific Northwest. But we live where our homes are. I mean, those are the places that are important to us. And then there are many people that don't have choices. The museum is presenting this exhibit to describe these events to people so they have a better understanding of earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, hurricanes, and tornadoes.
Of the 4 natural disasters just mentioned is most relevant while living in Utah? Okay, what do you guys think? Let's see what everybody puts on here. And to get to this point, you have to be watching the video on your end. So hopefully you're doing that. Okay, somebody put there. I hope you're kidding about hurricanes in Utah. That would have to be one big hurricane coming, unless it started in the Great Salt Lake somehow. Yeah, I think most of you guys that are following along, hopefully you got it right. Earthquakes would be the biggest thing. Like Utah's right on a fault line. Okay, let's watch the rest of the video here.
But more than that, to begin thinking about the risks associated with them. As climate warms, we expect there to be more severe storms, more severe droughts, more wildfires, and to some extent, over the last decade, we've seen just that. There's no way we're going to avoid the natural hazards on a dynamic Earth. But there are certainly ways that we can learn to live with it to mitigate the risks to society.
I thought that was a good video, so I thought that'd be fun. So let's go over some different natural disasters. Okay. Let's go back to Tonga now. So somebody mentioned Tonga in the most recent current event. Okay. This is something that I need to follow up on because I haven't even seen. I know they've been sending aid to Tonga now, but can anybody tell me what happened to Tonga? Okay. Somebody said volcano. Okay. That's part of it, right? It threw magma and molten rock. It could burn stuff as bad. Yes, there's a lot of Tonga's Utah. Okay, underwater eruption. Okay, tsunami. Very good. So it all happened like that. Okay, I don't know if you guys saw a different thing. Let me see if I can look it up on this page real quick because I think that'd be good to shoot. Tonga volcano eruption. Okay, I'm gonna throw this over to the screen here. Okay, so this is what happened. This is a .gov website, so I figured it'd be good. All right, you can kind of see what happens. So you have under here, you have Tonga, and you had this volcano that happened right here, okay? And let me see here. Hopefully it had... If you see right here, that's what happened. They saw, okay. Let me see if this video will show it. It'll be good.
In early 2015, Earth saw the birth of a new island, the first of its explosive type in 53 years. The blast was so large that nearby tourists caught the explosion on camera. The new island, unofficially known as Hungatonga Hungahaipai, is located in the remote South Pacific, nestled between two...
Okay, so I guess that kind of shows like how the island was created. Do you know why there are so many volcanoes in that area? The Ring of Fire. Thanks, Olivia. I was hoping you'd say that. Okay, so there's something called the Ring of Fire. It's a big tectonic plate that goes on there. Let me show you real quick. So, Ring of Fire map. Okay, so I'm going to throw this over here on the screen. Kind of going off everything. So the Ring of Fire, if you look right here, so this is Australia. We got Asia, we got North America, South America. So what they call the Ring of Fire is basically a tectonic plate. There's all these, you kind of see the tectonic plate right here, but there's a lot of volcanic activity that happens on here. I believe it's almost something about 90% of all volcanic activity happened in these amounts. That's why you always hear like California, right? In Mexico here, you have a lot. All up here, Japan has a whole bunch. And we're kind of close to it as well in Utah, right? So all of that is due to the plate tectonics moving, and they call that the Ring of Fire, okay? Because of all of that volcanic activity that happens in those areas. But we did see that in Tonga. I wish, let me see here if I got the video. Eruption 2020. Okay. I'm kind of skeptical of going to YouTube and showing you guys YouTube, but you might want to, you guys can look it up because this can be one of your things that if you want to do your research on for your assignment, go and look up how it happened. So what happened is a volcanic eruption happened under the water. The volcano erupted, and you can actually see the water fly up in the air, okay? And what happened at that point in time is all the water basically rushed in. Now, if it rushes in, then it's actually going to get pushed out as well. Okay, so then a tsunami happened. So not to mention you had the volcanic eruption, which caused all this stuff. And actually they said ash was covering a lot of the island. The water came in, and then it got, if you were near the ocean, you probably got that away. I'm not sure of the casualties or anything like that. I haven't looked into it that much. But they were saying they could feel it even on the west coast of the United States, that they were expecting high things like that. So somebody said, does that mean that Australia will finally drop into the sea and never see it again? No, it just depends upon the shifting and that kind of stuff. It really depends. Yeah, so the Earth is constantly, there's stuff coming up all the time, volcanic activities. So kind of interesting. With the volcanic activities, though, earthquakes can happen as well. So you could get an earthquake that causes a tsunami that causes an earthquake, or a volcano that causes a tsunami that causes an earthquake. So you could get like almost a trifecta right there. Okay, but we all know what an earthquake is: violently shaking, something that Utah is acceptable to, and not too many not too long ago, right? Oh man, that's probably been over a year and a half ago. We did have the one in was it Magna? I think that was the epicenter, but I was able to fill it up where I live. I live up west of Ogden, so I could fill it right there. Okay, cyclones, hurricanes, tornadoes, and typhoons. Okay, tornadoes or typhoons, they are on the ground. Oh, you didn't feel it near North Ogden? Yeah, I felt it where I was. So, hurricanes are on water. Okay, a lot of it is just different air pressure coming in, cold and hot water mixing, and they cause these huge storms. Okay, one that we actually see quite a bit in Utah, haven't heard about anybody right now, is an avalanche. Okay, when you have snow that has been on there, the ground, and it melts, freezes by, then you have a new snow that comes on top. It is known for avalanches to happen. Okay, and they can go up to 124 miles an hour. I don't know if anybody has been in a place where you said, I think a guy at Snowboard got one recently. Yeah, if you've ever been on a hill that has moving snow, I mean, I haven't been in like, I wouldn't say it was a big avalanche, but it was like something that was kind of small and we were all sliding, everything was sliding together. It's pretty scary. So when you're skiing or snowmobiling, this is something you got to be watching out for if you're in that back country stuff. Floods, something we don't think about a lot is flood. If we have too much water, that would be cause a natural disaster. Sometimes either from sea rising or just too much water in an area. Utah is susceptible to flooding, particularly like in southern Utah. I don't know if when they get a whole bunch of water and it comes down and it breaks off some of those areas, it's not good. It takes houses away and stuff like that. Okay, drought. Here's another one. If we not having enough water in a certain area is just important as having enough water, right? Here's kind of interesting. In 1968, a drought began in Africa. Children born, oh man. Anyways, they're 5 years old before they saw their first rain. How would that be? You just didn't have the water. Okay, fires or bushfires. Usually when I teach this class, there's usually a fire going on in California. They seem to have a lot. So having so many fires, it can go either way, and that's something that happens as well. Give it a week and it'll happen. I'm sure it will. Okay. So 2020 was a crazy year, as we all know. Even though we're in 2022, we're still feeling the effects of the year 2020. So I thought this was kind of interesting because our fun thing that nobody ever wants to talk about anymore, but everybody still has to talk about it. COVID, is that a natural disaster? Think about that. But here are some things that happened just in the year 2020.
Okay, I'm just trying to check the intensity or the speed of the wind, and I'm applying full strength to try and open this. It's a bit hard. Oh God.
Your word, as they said before, devastating, right? So, yeah, that was just in like the first like 7 months of 2020. I'm sure there's a more recent video that maybe I didn't do that, but yeah, it's just crazy out there. So why don't you guys list real quick? What is the most recent natural disaster do you remember hearing about? Okay, so volcanic eruption of the Pacific Islands, a fire. Okay, the one in Tonga. Okay. Okay, you had an earthquake happen. There's one every day over 6.0. Wow. Okay, volcano. Yeah, that seems to be highlighting the things today is is the devastation that happened in Tonga. So I figure I'm going to get a lot of reports on that. But if you do have something else, feel free to definitely research it a little bit. Okay, so this is your assignment. Okay, you're going to choose one natural disaster to research. Okay, the incident, where in the world the natural disaster last happened. And in 75 words, you're going to describe what the natural disaster did to the environment that it happened in. Okay. So this is what you'll be doing. So if you go to the assignment portion, you just put in which natural disaster you're going to research. Okay. Whether it is a volcanic eruption, where it's earthquake, whether it's tsunami, whether it's something, I don't care, COVID-19, I guess. The natural disaster you choose above, in which country did it occur last? Okay, so you're going to have to start doing some research and find out where did this happen, and all that. And then you're going to write 75 words about how basically the natural disaster affected the environment, the country, the people, all that kind of stuff. And then you're going to submit it. Okay, so that is your assignment for this week and your exit ticket. So if you do have any questions, this is my contact information. I'm more than happy to stick around and help you guys out with anything else you need. If you are past due on some of the other assignments, please get those done. Still going to grade them so you guys can get some credits on it. So thank you. Appreciate you guys' time today. And I'll stop the recording and be around for any questions you may have.